How's it going, Rasmanites? As you can see by the title, it's time for another WWE pay-per-view review. But due to my camera issues and the fact that my friend RotisserieiJamie hadn't made a review yet either, we just thought it'll be easier this time just to do an audio review, but this time have it on my channel. So we are going to review Hell in the Cell today on the Razman's Reality. What's up, Jamie? Thanks for being here.
Hello, you're welcome.
Alright, let's get this started because they added a lot of matches to this pay-per-view, so we got a lot to cover here. First match, Sheamus versus Christian. Really good opener. Was really surprised by how well these two work together because I don't think they've ever gone one-on-one before, to my knowledge. And this was a really good match.
Yeah, it actually wasn't a bad opener at all. I didn't think it would be a very good match, but I did enjoy that opener, and I love Sheamus being a face and Christian being a heel, except for, the complainer that he is as a heel. But still, it was overall, it was actually a pretty good match. Not bad at all.
Yeah, I agree. They need to stop with the complainer gimmick. I've said that to you before in recent weeks off the recording air, but yeah, Christian can just be a heel without
complaining.
Sorry, got a little bit of science change there, but yeah, the whiny complainer thing, I just don't get it. It just needs to stop.
It's a bit annoying with Christian, though. I mean, it might be able to work with someone else, but it gets really annoying. I mean, Christian's a great wrestler, and the way they treat him is just terrible.
Yeah,
he could be a really good heel. He was a really good heel back in the day, and he's good face, too, so I don't see why they treat him like crap all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I know WWE wouldn't do this because, oh my god, it's acknowledging competition, which is forbidden in WWE land. But look at some of Christian's footage from TNA. I mean, that's how he can be a good heel.
But they don't like TNA WWE, so, of course.
Yeah. But yeah, really good opener, and Sheamus won here. No real surprise there. I think everybody expected Sheamus to go over. And the one thing I didn't really like was that they didn't just go ahead and make this a number one contenders match, because to me, Sheamus is the next logical challenger for the World Heavyweight title. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
So, a little bit of a surprise there.
I mean, I wasn't surprised Sheamus won either, but it would have been nice if Christian wins once in a while,
Yeah, well, Christian had his run, and I don't think he's done winning matches. I think they just want to push Sheamus right now. Okay,
Which is at least it's someone different, though.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Sin Cara versus Sin Cara, aka Sin Cara Blue versus Sin Cara Black, in order to keep it straight. This was a really good match. The crowd chanted boring at one point, but I just don't get what they were thinking, because this was a really phenomenal match, and it showed that both Hunico, who is the original Sin Cara, Mystico, who is the original Sin Cara, and Hunico, who is Sin Cara 2, both have really good talent, and I don't necessarily want there to be two Sin Caras to keep this feud going, but I could see Hunico playing another character and keeping this feud going, because this was a really good match.
Yeah, I mean, they were chanting boring for I don't know why, but it was not a bad match. It was just a straight-out wrestling match, and I like how they did, people are calling the black Sin Cara the Sinister Sin Cara, and the other one just Sin Cara. So I think this storyline is actually really interesting because they're both really good wrestlers and they're both high flyers. So hopefully they keep the storyline going because it wasn't a bad match and they're
Right.
both phenomenal.
Well, yeah, if they keep them looking different, I guess
Yeah.
it's okay for a while. But the idea of two wrestlers with the same character name is a bit weird to me.
They
But
could change the name though, but
they
whatever they
could.
want to do, as long as it's interesting.
But anyway, Mystico, aka Sin Cara, won the match, which I think everybody expected because, he got screwed over, got his identity stolen. So it'll be interesting to see how they carry this match or rivalry forward, especially given what Hunico Sin Cara 2 said on SmackDown when he said, "You stole my identity once before." It looks like WWE's actually thought out where they want this storyline to go, so should be interesting as the weeks go on.
I like the Sinister Sin Cara. I mean, I like them both, but I think the black one's pretty interesting too, as well as Sin Cara. I don't know. I just like what people are calling him, Sinister Sin Cara,
Yeah,
and I kind of like the style of what he's dressed in.
yeah, I really like that too. I hadn't heard that before today, but the IWC is always smarter than the WWE announcers using that terminology, so I really like that. Yeah, it works.
The commentators really annoy me at some points because they don't stop talking. And you kind of want to enjoy the pay per view, not hear people talk during the match. I mean, as much as I love JR and him, but I mean, the announcers just drive me nuts sometimes during matches.
Okay, next up it was Jack Swagger and Dolph Ziggler challenging Eric Boone for the tag team battles. Eric Boone retains, but another really good match. And we keep saying it, but WWE made a phenomenal decision to put the tag titles on Evan and Kofi because they are a really good tag team, and it's actually bringing relevance back to the tag team division.
Yeah, I really love the fact that Evan Bourne has the title. I know the IWC has been bitching and bitching for a while for Evan Bourne to get a push. I know I have because I really love Evan Bourne. And I know people in the YWC, IWC, whatever you want to call it, have really want Kofi to get a push. He was going to get a push during the Orton feud, but Orton kind of screwed that up and Kofi didn't. But I'm glad they both got the title because I really like how they're like. I like the high flyers a lot. So the match wasn't bad either. It was actually a pretty decent match.
Yeah, it was.
So I'm glad that they retained and they're actually letting them have a long title reign and instead of screwing them over like they usually do to Evan Bourne and having him lose all his matches because I'm so glad. I don't know how many times I can say this or how much I can express myself to this, but I really love the fact that Evan Bourne has a title.
Oh, everybody does. There's no absolutely zero doubt about that. And I love the fact that Jim Ross actually did another nod to the YWC/IWC when he said this is the best tag team match that has been on WWE pay-per-view in a really long time. He actually said that during commentary, which I thought was hilarious.
That's awesome.
Okay. World Heavyweight Championship, Randy Orton versus Mark Henry. Unfortunately, Mark Henry retained, not because we don't like seeing a new guy with the title, but if you've heard either our roundtables that we do on my radio show for every pay-per-view or the last Night of Champions review we did on your channel, we just don't like Mark Henry as a wrestler, but they are doing him really well, and he continues to improve every single match. And for it being a big guy like Mark Henry in the match with Orton, it was a really good match. I was surprised.
It was actually not a bad match. I mean, being Mark Henry and being a really big guy, he actually didn't do bad. And I don't like Mark Henry as champion. I know he's been in the business for a while, so I guess it's not bad that he has the title. And at least it's a new face. But then again, I don't want Orton to win for the millionth time either. He doesn't need the title. So at least when this feud ends, at least Sheamus and Mark Henry, at least there'll be new faces in the title picture instead of Orton the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. I've said this before. I think the next logical thing to do is Mark Henry versus Sheamus. But with the way that Randy Orton kind of went berserk after losing the match after Mark Henry tried to end his career. It looks like they might do one more match between these two, which I think is overkill, but we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yep.
Okay. Then we have the coolest impromptu thing of the night. Cody Rhodes comes out and talks about the legacy of the Intercontinental title. And if you remember on the roundtable that we did on my radio show, when I talked about how Cody Rhodes was actually acknowledging Paz's legacy and how Cody Rhodes seemed to be like a step from WWE to return the Intercontinental title to relevancy. Well, he actually did that on camera tenfold because he threw the current version of the Intercontinental title in the trash and pulled out the classic white Intercontinental Championship that guys like Ricky Steamboat, Randy Savage, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, all the great guys that have held the Intercontinental title in the past, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret Hart, another two. All those guys wore that design of the title. And even though it says WWE now for obvious reasons, it is the exact same design. And that was such a tremendous markout moment for me. I love that.
That was a really cool. That title looks really cool. I like the design.
Yeah. And, it just further proof that WWE has finally got their head on straight and actually listening to what we, the fans, want. We want classic titles. We don't want titles that look like butterflies. But that's for a whole nother discussion.
At least they are acknowledging the IWC fans. And I love when they acknowledge us. And when people like JR talk about us in a positive way. Because we all know what we're talking about. Even though some people don't like to admit it, we know what the business wants. We know what the fans want.
Yeah. So anyway, after Cody pulls out the new / old beautiful white Intercontinental title, John Laurinaitis said it was from Triple H, but then later on in the night, Triple H got mad and said Laurinaitis made another match, which just helped stuff that happened after the main event. But anyway, it was an impromptu IC title match. Cody retained against John Morrison. And this was a really good match. Despite Cody being in street clothes, this was a nice little 10-minute filler match. I enjoyed this match.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad match. I love when Morrison wrestles, and Cody's a pretty good wrestler too, so it wasn't a bad match.
Yeah, no, not at all. And like I said, the white Intercontinental Championship, I just can't say that enough. I love it so much. Moving on, Divas title. Again, title looked like butterflies. We don't need to see that. But finally, Beth Phoenix wins the Divas title from Kelly Kelly. I know you're very happy about that.
I love her, no homo. I freaking love Beth Phoenix and Natalya. So I'm so happy at least one of them got it and not Kelly Kelly win for the third time in a row. I'm so glad she didn't. I wouldn't be surprised if she did, but I'm so happy she got the title. An actual talented diva actually won the title.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing I didn't like about it was I know that Beth and Natalya are the heels here, and so I guess it makes sense in a roundabout way. But after all that they've been through in this feud and after the way Beth has lost cleanly, she deserved to win cleanly. The fact that Natalya used a microphone to help Beth win, I just didn't like that all that much.
I hate how the faces, went all cleanly, and then some of the most talented wrestlers, the only way they can win is by some sort of interference or DQ. So the least they could have done is let her win cleanly. But, she's a heel and all. But still, she has a title, which I'm completely fine with, and it's not Kelly Kelly. Beth can actually wrestle, and Natalya can actually wrestle, so I'm okay with that.
Exactly. So hopefully this means that the WWE is actually on their way back to putting some relevance in the Divas division, and hopefully we see Beth versus Karma very, very soon.
That would be a very interesting match, and it would be a Divas match that I actually want to see.
Yep. And finally, main event WWE Championship Triple Threat Hell in the Cell match. All kinds of crazy things happen leading up to this. Right before Sheamus and Christian go at it one-on-one to open the night, Miz and R-Truth come out with tickets. John Laurinaitis throws them out. And then later on, Miz and R-Truth take out Air Boom backstage. So we know something's going to go on with the Miz and R-Truth. That wasn't a surprise. The surprise was that WWE actually, again, continuing to listen to fans. Fans don't want screwjob endings to ruin good main event matches. They actually let the match finish before Miz and R-Truth got involved in the matchup. But it was kind of a weird finish,
It was crazy.
irregardless, because of the simple fact that John Cena gets locked out of the Hell in the Cell by Alberto Del Rio.
That was really funny.
It was funny, but it was like, what? The champion gets
They couldn't get back in the ring, and I look up for a second and I go, oh wait, John Cena's not in the Hell in a Cell. And he looked all worked up when he was trying to get back in, because he just like had a constipated look on his face, like he's like turning bright red, and he's trying to open up the cage. And I'm just like, yeah, you're Superman, but you don't have that much powers where you can open the cage. And I was just laughing at him because he was so worked up out there.
Yeah, it was really funny. But it leads to Alberto Del Rio getting the victory over CM Punk and becoming WWE champion. Why?
What's the point of having him lose 2 weeks later? I know a lot of people on Twitter were talking about this. Like, what is the point of having him lose at the last pay-per-view and then winning it back 2 weeks later? It's like, what's the point of flip-flopping the title around to people? Either let Cena have his title and then, a few months and let someone else, not flip-flop every 2 weeks. I rather prefer Punk to win, but at least Cena doesn't have the title. But if they wanted to, why didn't they just have Alberto hold on to his briefcase and cash in when he's ready, or let him have the title till now? I don't get the point of why they just made him win again.
I think it's because they want to create more controversy, and this angle is controversial. I mean, we don't know. Obviously, it's going to be Vince in some form or another involved, but we don't know necessarily if Vince is pulling the strings in this. Like, who lowered the cell down to let Miz and R-Truth do that beatdown? Why did they surrender so quickly when the cops came in? There is all those questions.
That was so crazy when, like, the whole locker room came out and then, quote-unquote, cops came out. And then Miz and Truth got arrested. That was pretty crazy, everything that happened at the end.
The ending was good. I liked what they did, especially because they waited for the outside interference until the match was over. Yeah. I just don't... Why did Cena even win the title 2 weeks ago if Del Rio was just going to win back at Hell in a Cell? I
guess because it's Cena, so having him win the title is...
Well, I think we can all see what's going on here. We don't want to acknowledge it too much unless it happens, so I'm not even going to say it because I'll wait to talk about it until I have to, because the thought of it just makes me nauseated. But
when Miz and Truth were getting arrested, I just pictured the cop show. Everyone was talking about the cop show, and I just started picturing the cops theme song, Bad Boys.
Right, yeah. It was a really good pay-per-view. WWE continuing to put on good shows. I like this show a lot.
The pay-per-view seemed really short, though, for some reason.
It did seem a little bit short, but, with pay-per-views 2 weeks apart, I was expecting this to be a bad show. It really wasn't a bad show.
I wasn't expecting it to be really good at all. I was expecting it to be really short, there being a lot of time left before it actually ended, but it wasn't a bad pay-per-view. I thought it was pretty good to decent. I mean, it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad, though.
No, it wasn't bad at all. All right, that's it. We're out of time. Jamie, thanks for being here. Okay. Sorry everybody for it being just a photo of us throughout the video. I did try to find the match photos, but they're no longer on WWE.com. It's only result photos, and I can't access those. So, hope everybody enjoyed the video. Like I said, Once again, Jamie, thanks for being here. Like us on Facebook. Follow Jamie on YouTube. All of the links down below in the description box. This is reality according to the Razman. And Razman style. It's not just a catchphrase, but a way of life.